I'm about to get into my next update on the Chronicles of George. It's a good one. But before I do that, I want to talk about the fact that this is not a one off situation. Women who have been married and women who are currently daughters understand that many of these women are having to take up the slack where these males cannot perform by themselves. This woman says, when my mom died, my stepdad could do nothing for himself at 66. He wouldn't clean. I had to teach him how to pay his bills, and he lived on fast food. These people do know how to do things. They choose not to. This is where that weaponized incompetence is just turning into sheer and outright laziness. They just do not want to do anything for themselves. They want the women in their lives to pick up slack after they act helpless. This is also learned helplessness. Women have got to pull back. That leads me to the next comment that I want to highlight. This comment comes from my YouTube channel on the George Chronicles as well. She says, I'm so right. Women need to pull back and let the men handle it if there are any men. Women are always making male lives more comfortable, whether we know these people or not. Stop it. We have got to stop it. And more men need to see other men failing and flailing and the women not stepping in to intervene because they need to see that, yes, they need to create a community for men that's outside of sports and fishing. They need to create a society where they adopt and sponsor a George because the women are saying, get someone else to do it. Now to the update. Chronicles of George, Mr. Fabulous gets a little feisty. So this is what happened. So Mr. Fabulous told me George is considering holding his wife's property and things she requested in the divorce hostage. He wants to put them in storage and refuse to relinquish any property unless she agrees to meet and talk with him because she's being ridiculous. Mr. Fabulous said to George, I've never gotten divorced, but even I know that's probably not a good idea. He asked George to contact his lawyer before doing anything crazy. After some more back and forth, Mr. Fabulous asked, could he contact his lawyer himself? George finally gave him the lawyer's contact info. Someone in the office told Mr. Fabulous that they were not at liberty to discuss the case with him. He said, basically, then don't talk, just listen, and left his number with the lawyer's office. About 20 minutes later, the lawyer calls Mr. Fabulous and says he can't discuss the details of the decree or the case, but said, please try to talk George out of doing anything to his wife's property or anything of value that could be considered marital assets. Then George calls Mr. Fabulous all angry and said that he can't believe he told his lawyer his plans. I actually heard Mr. Fabulous yell into his phone, he's your lawyer. I'm not yelling because I have kids in another room. He's supposed to know your plans. So the two of us decided we need to help with this one. We told one of the owners, our boss, George's friend and business associate for years, to talk some sense into him. And two men we work with said they will step up and not let him do any dumb stuff that might cost him his life savings. Let's see how that plays out. So basically, the men are finally stepping into the gap. Just like I was talking about, men need to step into the gap. This is the domain of men. Let them handle it. So me and my connector talking in the inbox, and she's letting me know. She says, I actually told the younger guys who do maintenance and repairs for us, I hope you're paying attention. Make sure this isn't you in 25 years. She goes on to say, I also had the opportunity to explain to George myself that marriage counseling isn't intended to convince the person seeking divorce to change their mind. It's about developing ways to cope with life after divorce and make sure the children are okay. Granted, a marriage counselor will point out certain things that may or may not be good reasons to divorce someone. But the decision is entirely theirs. Sometimes they even tell couples divorce is actually the best option. I read about it out of curiosity. He was disappointed. I think he really thought he could find a therapist who would talk his wife out of going through with the filing. He still might. He's at a stage where he is thinking he can do something drastic and goad her into counseling or working things out. So at that point, I'm saying, have you asked him if she'd ask him to do more at this point just to get him to articulate what he thinks the problems were? And then she said, All I had the chance to say was she didn't just wake up one day and say to herself that she didn't want to be married anymore. More than likely, she probably tried to talk to you about how unhappy she was long before this. But he just sighed, looked down, and didn't have an answer. The men's are in the find out stage. Women, we have talked and talked. Women are asking for more participation in the household. We're asking for emotional intelligence. We're asking for more partnership. And now, at this particular point, women are creating plans to live independently of these people who don't listen. So, that is the update. You guys continue to jump into the comments. I'm reading them. They're reading them. The coworkers are reading them. So just keep on participating. I will keep the updates coming as I get them. Jump in the comments. Let me know what you think. Like, comment, share.